What's up, guys? So, remote work. That's one of those topics that I think is fairly misunderstood, at least in my opinion. And when I go through this, I think you'll understand why my position is that way. Because it ultimately matters what even qualifies somebody as a remote worker, or like somebody working, say, from home. Um, it's somebody who is primarily working remotely or working from home, right? Does that make sense? And that could be somebody whose office, right, is down the street. It doesn't necessarily have to be maybe somebody's employer who may be on the opposite end of the country and say they live in Nashville. That's just not accurate, right? Does that make sense? It seems obvious now that I say it, but yeah, that's why it matters to look at these place of work measures too, in addition to looking at these remote measures, because basically what you'll see in these place of work measures is that people in general they live in the vicinity of which they work. Like they may not live in the county in which they work, but in the general vicinity. And so people whose like offices say like out of state, they are actually the minority by a long shot in the aggregate. And look, I've said many times I've looked at this data, across counties, cities, across the country, and you're just going to see some version of that all over the place. And yes, there's going to be variation. That's totally normal, but that's the general trend that you're seeing. So, yeah, I mean, like, there's a bunch more to it than that. And I don't want to bore you guys, but like, tons of research on this. Like, who exactly is working remotely, right? Who would that be? The general profile that you will see is going to be an older individual that is highly educated and well compensated, tends to be white, and a big sector that's represented would be something like professional business services, which again a lot rolls up into that number. But if you want to think about it in a very simple way, I mean that's like a lot of white collar administrative roles. And like obviously, if you're an older individual, you've had longer time to really grow your career and I would say develop maybe some autonomy. That would only make sense. If you're a younger person, even in some professional business services type of role, you're still probably going to need a lot of hands-on training. And I don't think that you can entirely accomplish something like that through Zoom or Teams. And there's probably going to be, if that is the approach, a lot of productivity lost along the way, I would say. There needs to be, I would say, some hands-on uh, training. But the other thing, too, I mean, if you were to just think about like the industries and how that would, of course, just intuitively vary. I mean, if you're in like manufacturing, are you going to be a remote worker? Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on your capacity within manufacturing, but probably not. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that, again, I think is a little misunderstood. So, anyway, guys, have a good one.